The show starts with this guy named Ethan falling through a portal onto what looks like the moon or maybe just Detroit, I don't know. He's what they call a clockman, which honestly sounds like the lamest superhero ever. Like, imagine telling someone quick, call clockman, and they're like, why? Is someone running late to a meeting? But then we get this dramatic phone call from someone named Isa, who's trying so hard to be all mysterious and dramatic. She's like, the battle of fate for the multiverse has begun, and Ethan's just like, yeah, could you maybe be more specific? Yeah, which is honestly the most relatable thing ever. It's like when your mom texts you, we need to talk, and you're like, about what exactly? Did you find the iPad history or the failed math test? Then Isa drops this bombshell that Sinister is free, which I guess is supposed to be dramatic, but like, who names their villain Sinister? That's like naming your dog Dog or your fish Fish. At least go with something cool like Dave. Nobody expects a villain named Dave. But then, oh boy, then we get to what I like to call the wait. What portion of our program? We jump to this absolutely bananas fight scene between Titan Pencil Woman, yes, you heard that right, and someone called C-Pen and something called a Counter Titan's body. And let me tell you, this makes the time I tried to explain why I needed 47 different colored highlighters to my dad look normal. You've got Pencil Woman shooting missile pencils. Like, imagine being in school and the teacher's like, does anyone have a pencil? And this lady just launches a military-grade writing utensil across the room. Then there's C-Pen, who's got more transformation abilities than my excuses for why I haven't started my taxes yet. This fight scene is actually pretty epic. You've got explosions, energy beams, and at one point she summons entire airships, like calm down there, Michael Bay. But then it gets real when C-Pen recognizes her as Ketsi. Because apparently normal names don't exist in this universe, and we get this whole dramatic revelation that C-Pen killed some kids. Way to go from 0 to 100 real quick there, show. And just when you think it can't get any more intense, Titan Pencil Woman goes full John Wick mode, summoning every weapon possible, including, and I kid you not, Titan Drillman's head. Because apparently in this universe, you can just casually summon someone else's head as a weapon. Try explaining that one at airport security. The whole thing ends with Titan TV and again, stellar naming department showing up just in time to catch Pencil Woman as she's about to fall. Which, you know, is nice and all, but maybe he could have shown up before the whole summoning heads as weapons thing. And you know what's crazy though? This is actually really well animated. Like, whoever made this put more effort into these fight scenes than I put into my entire high school career. The way they choreograph these battles is actually pretty impressive, even if I have no idea what's happening half the time. Speaking of not knowing what's happening, can we talk about how this show just casually drops terms like G-clones and Counter Titans like we're supposed to know what those are? It's like when your friend starts telling you about their drama, but skips the first 17 important parts of the story. And then Sarah said, who's Sarah? We don't know, but apparently she's important. But honestly, I kind of love it. It's like someone took every anime ever, threw it in a blender with some office supplies and a few fever dreams, and this is what came out. It's completely insane, makes absolutely no sense, and I can't stop watching it. It's like the visual equivalent of those weird dreams you have after eating expired pizza rolls at 3 a.m.
But I couldn't believe it.
And you know what? Maybe that's the point. Maybe we're not supposed to understand why there's a woman made of pencils fighting a guy who can transform into various office supplies. Maybe the real message here is about. Actually, no, I got nothing. It's just cool fight scenes with pencils and drills. This is definitely one of those things that's going to show up in my recommended videos at 2 a.m. right between why giraffes are government drones and how to make a pizza with only condiments, and you know what? I'm okay with that.
You know me.
So, where were we? Oh right, Titan Pencil Woman just went full John Wick on Counter Titan, and now we're getting into the real drama. You know how in every anime there's always that one scene where someone's like, this isn't even my final form. Well, buckle up, Buttercup, because that's basically what's about to happen here.
Shut up, you trainer!
So Titan TV Man shows up, and get this, he starts talking in reverse like he's auditioning for a David Lynch movie. He's all need pencil sharpener, which honestly sounds like the start of a really weird office supply commercial. But here's the thing, he's actually being super nice, helping Titan Pencil Woman get back to her base, because she's basically running on empty after that last fight. It's like when you're at the gym and you've done way too many squats, except instead of your legs giving out, your entire giant robot body is about to collapse. Now, at the base, we've got this whole thing with normal pencilmen, and yes, that's actually what they're called. I'm not making this up, and they're just standing there with normal TV man who's wearing a yellow tie, because apparently even in the apocalypse, fashion matters, looking at some kind of automatic shovel. Which, by the way, where was this when I had to help my dad with yard work? But I digress. Then we get to what I like to call the dad's not mad, he's just disappointed scene. Chief Drillman is basically giving Titan Pencil Woman the lecture of a lifetime. He's like, you overdid it. You're too close to dying, which is basically what my mom says when I tell her I had 4 Red Bulls in one day. But Titan Pencil Woman's not having any of it. She's all well. Considering our current situation, I don't think we'll be able to survive without risk, which is exactly what I tell myself when I order that extra large pizza at 2 a.m. But wait, it gets better. In comes this parade of what they're calling welder pencil helicopters, and can we just take a moment to appreciate whoever's naming these things? Like, did they just throw darts at a board full of random words? These helicopters are bringing resources, and it's apparently a big deal because Chief Pencilman's about to drop some serious wisdom. He goes into this whole speech about how C-Pen's actions have opened his eyes, which by the way is what everyone says right before they do something either really smart or really stupid. He's basically giving Titan Pencilwoman permission to go all out, use all their resources, but with one condition: she can't exhaust herself. It's like when your parents tell you can stay out late, but you better not come home drunk. Then we get this really touching moment where Titan Pencilwoman's like, hey, C-Pen's mistakes aren't your fault, and Chief Pencilman's like, they're not yours either. It's giving me major Fast and Furious vibes, except instead of family, it's about giant robot pencil people. Yes. But, oh boy, then we switch scenes faster than my ex switches personality traits, and we're at the TV Man base. Titan Cameraman and Titan TV Man are getting upgrades, which is basically like getting a new iPhone, except these upgrades probably won't stop working right after the warranty expires. Now, this is where things get really spicy. They're all trying to figure out how to sneak around without getting caught. And Titan TV Man suggests teleportation because apparently that's just a thing they can do. But Scientist Clockman, yes, that's his actual title, is like, nah, they'll see that coming, and Titan TV Man's screen literally turns to a underscore face. Like, imagine being so done with something that your actual face becomes an emoji. Then Chief Drillman shows up in his transport ship like he's making some kind of dramatic entrance in a Marvel movie and drops this absolutely wild line, well, I guess dying is a day worth living for. Which sounds deep until you think about it for more than 2 seconds, but whatever, I'm here for it. And this is where the drama really kicks in. Turns out the Pencil Group had resources this whole time, and the TV Man crew is not happy about it. Scientist TV Man goes full Karen mode, speaking in reverse, because that's apparently their thing, and Titan TV Man's screen turns to, which is probably the most relatable reaction in this entire scene. The whole thing ends with this really intense moment where all the Titans are gearing up for battle, and Titan Drillman tries to have his moment by roaring, but Titan TV Man just shuts him down like a substitute teacher dealing with the class clown. His screen goes back to underscore because apparently that's his default I'm so done with this face, and they all get these TV cubes before teleporting away. This next part is like if Inception had a baby with Doctor Strange and then that baby watched too much anime. So we cut to Titan Clockman getting absolutely yeeted across the scene like me trying to dodge responsibility. He's trying to look cool about it, using his sword to balance himself, but Sinister Titan Clockman, and yes, that's actually his name, someone in the writing room was clearly having a day, is just casually walking up to him like a disappointed parent saying, still holding back. Boring, which by the way is exactly what my gym trainer says right before he makes me do another set of burpee. Then we get this absolutely wild smoke scene that's giving major Matrix vibes. There are all these slashes moving through the smoke towards Sinister Titan Clockman, but this dude's just like, nah, and deflects them back at regular Titan Clockman like he's playing ping pong. Regular Titan Clockman tries to use his holographic chest as a shield, because apparently that's a thing you can do when you're a clock person. But then future Large Clockman shows up with an even bigger shield like I got you fam. And this is where things get interesting. Future Large Clockman's like, this wasn't what I saw in the future, which is probably what my financial advisor says every time he looks at my account. He tries to blast Sinister with this huge energy beam, but Sinister's just like, that's cute, and stops it with his blade. Then he starts using these arrows from his back to pin Future Large Clockman down, which honestly feels like overkill at this point. But wait, it gets better. Sinister starts monologuing, because of course he does, about how Future Large Clockman is basically just a tiny piece of him. He goes into this whole thing about Timeline 01 and how Chief tried to steal his powers, but it was too much and killed everyone, except Chief himself. It's like when you try to copy someone's homework but make it obvious by changing everything slightly. Then we get this absolutely bonkers revelation where Sinister's like, yeah, I slowed down time so much that a few seconds felt like 1,000 years. Which, by the way, is exactly what it feels like when you're waiting for your microwave to finish heating up your leftover pizza. But he didn't just sit there doing nothing. Oh no, he made an entire illusion of the multiverse in his head and checked every possible future to find his perfect destiny. Talk about being an overachiever. Future Large Clockman tries to fight back with this huge yellow orb that looks like a giant emoji, but Sinister's just like, nice try, and cuts through it with his blade. Then he sends out these 12 floating blades in a circle, which is giving me major Final Fantasy boss battle vibes. Future Large Clockman's doing his best to dodge all these spears coming at him, but eventually gets knocked down harder than my self-esteem during high school. Regular Titan Clockman sees his buddy get knocked down and tries to be a hero, but gets pushed back faster than my credit card getting declined at Whole Foods. Then Sinister goes into another monologue about how he's seen all the ways he could lose but made sure to pick the timeline where he becomes invincible. It's like when you're playing a video game and you save right before a big decision so you can reload if things go wrong, except he did it with the entire multiverse. So Titan Clockman's like, all right, you asked for it, and pulls out his trump card. Order infinite boost. He goes absolutely ham on Sinister, decapitating him and slicing him in half while yelling, "Taste the holy sword," which honestly sounds like something you'd hear in a really intense cooking show. There's this massive explosion in London that you can see from space, which seems a bit excessive, but okay. But plot twist. Turns out all of that was just an illusion. Sinister grabs Titan Clockman by the head like he's picking up a puppy, and is basically like Nice Try, but no. Then they have this final showdown where Sinister completely destroys Titan Clockman's sword, and when Titan Clockman tries to reverse the damage, because apparently that's another thing he can do, it doesn't work. Sinister pulls out this thing called a gravity grenade that pins everyone to the ground like that one time I tried to get out of bed. The whole thing ends with Sinister doing one final monologue about how he spent 1,000 years looking at millions of possibilities just to get to this moment. He's like, I only needed one risk, which feels like something a motivational poster would say if it was written by a supervillain. This next part is wilder than my Aunt Carol's Facebook posts after she's had too much wine. So Titan Clockman, probably tired of being thrown around like my self-esteem in high school, pulls out this Oh No reverse card move by literally saying order gravity reversed and snapping his fingers. And can we talk about how extra that is? Like, you could just say gravity reversed, but no, you gotta order in all caps like you're yelling at a McDonald's drive-thru. But Sinister's not impressed. He's just like, you will try in his best Yoda impression, and then goes into this whole supervillain monologue about how everything Titan Clockman does is actually helping him win. It's giving me major I planned this all along vibes, like when my mom says she knew I'd need that sweater she packed even though I said I wouldn't. Meanwhile, Titan Clockman's trying his best to land a hit on Sinister, but this dude's dodging everything like me, avoiding my responsibilities. And Sinister's talking trash the whole time, saying stuff like, you will suffer again and again and again, which honestly sounds like my gym trainer when I tell him I forgot to do my meal prep. Then he does this absolutely wild move where he grabs Titan Clockman's head and smashes him into the ground so hard it makes a crater. Like, we're talking anime protagonist levels of getting wrecked here. And Sinister's still not done with his villain speech. He's going on about how Titan Clockman's going to sacrifice himself and reboot everything, creating a new world without him where Sinister can have his perfect dominion. Which, by the way, would make a great name for a metal battle. But then, plot twist, future Large Clockman comes out of nowhere like that one friend who shows up to the party right when you're about to leave. He launches himself into the air and creates this massive energy fist while yelling God of the Chronoverse my ass. Time strike, which is absolutely the most extra way anyone has ever announced they're about to punch someone. They manage to push Sinister through a portal, and everyone's jumping in after him like it's Black Friday, and someone just opened the doors to Best Buy. But here's where it gets interesting. We meet this new character called Isa, who's basically a female version of future Large Clockman. She's been watching this whole thing go down like it's Netflix, and her response is just absolute cinema. But, well, that can't be good, which is exactly what I say when I watch the ending of any Christopher Nolan movie. She tries to contact this guy named Ethan, aka Mr. 099, and attempts to be all dramatic about it, but he's not having any of it. It's like when you try to dramatically tell your friends some gossip, but they keep interrupting you with questions. Finally, she just cuts to the chase and tells him Sinister's left his universe, and Ethan's like, cool, I'll call the others like they're organizing a brunch or something. But wait, because now we're cutting to what I can only describe as the most bonkers battle scene since that time I tried to explain TikTok dances to my grandparents. We've got this thing called the G Toilet, and yes, that's actually what it's called. Someone in the naming department was really having a day, and it's got these giant helicopter acid tree buster skibidi toilets flying around. Like, imagine a helicopter, but it's a toilet and it shoots asses. This is what happens when you let a 5-year-old design military equipment. We've got these 8 fighter jets showing up like they're auditioning for Top Gun, and there's this whole chase sequence with Sergeant Cameraman that's giving me major Star Wars vibes. The G-Toilet tries to crush one of the jets, but ends up crushing its own troops instead, which is probably the most relatable fail I've seen in this entire series. Then, out of nowhere, 12 pencil helicopters show up with their invisibility turned on, because apparently that's a thing pencil helicopters can do now, and they make this diamond-shaped portal. The Titans come through, and Titan TV Man hits them with a reverse surprise motherfuckers, which is probably the most appropriate thing anyone said in this entire sequence. The whole thing ends with this absolutely wild scene where Titan Pencil Woman shows up with an army of Titan clones, including something called a Sonner Titan, which sounds like something you'd find in a really aggressive M concert. And they're just absolutely demolishing these G clones like it's nobody's business. So they also dropped this trailer for episode 42, and let me tell you, it's like if Michael Bay directed an anime about office supplies. I'm not even kidding.
The multiverse has begun.
The trailer starts with this absolutely wild shot of 6G clones and an explosion that sends Titan Pencil Woman flying like me trying to do parkour in middle school. But she's way cooler about it than I was. She just catches herself with her hands like it's no big deal. Then she's immediately launching pencils at Counter Titan, who's floating there in the air like he's auditioning for a Superman movie. Counter Titan's got this whole copycat thing going on where he can just steal other people's weapons, which, by the way, where was this power when I was taking tests in high school? He yoinks Titan Cameraman's railgun and starts blasting away, but Titan Pencil Woman's like, nah, and blocks it with her shield like she's Captain America's stationary obsessed cousin. Then we get into this absolutely bonkers fight scene where Counter Titan's switching between a drill hand and an energy blade like he can't decide what weapon to use in a video game. Titan Pencil Woman's dodging everything like she's in the Matrix, gets in a solid punch, but then Counter Titan finally lands a hit and smashes her shield with this mechanical hammer. And they get all up in each other's faces like it's about to turn into a CW drama. But wait, because now we're cutting to Titan Cameraman getting these sweet upgrades. He's got these 4 welder camera helicopters, and yes, that's actually what they're called, strapping laser cannons to his shoulders like he's cosplaying as War Machine. Meanwhile, Titan TV Man's also getting his glow-up moment with some welder helicopter speakers doing something. Look, I'm not entirely sure what they're doing, but it looks cool. Scientist TV Man's there being all dramatic like this is all we can do. Special agents will join you later, which sounds exactly like what my mom says when she's done helping me with my math homework. Then Titan Drillman and Titan Speakerman show up, and Titan TV Man hits us with this cool line about getting that bastard out of his shell right before Titan Drillman ruins the moment by roaring like he's trying to audition for Jurassic Park. And just when you think it can't get any more intense, we get Sinister Titan Clockman being all ominous with multiverse is mine like he's Thanos' mechanical cousin. We see some more of that fight scene with all the slashing and shield blocking we saw earlier, and then it ends with this character named Isa watching everything go down and just casually dropping absolute cinema like she's a film student at a Marvel movie. The whole thing ends there, and honestly, I have no idea what's going on half the time, but it looks absolutely insane and I'm here for it. It's like someone took every anime fight scene ever, mixed it with the Office Depot catalog, and then added some Marvel level shi. And somehow it works. And they dropped yet another trailer, and honestly, it's giving me major Fast and Furious vibes, except instead of family, it's about, well, giant mechanical beings planning what might be their last stand. We start with Titan TV Man and Titan Cameraman just chilling in the background while Chief Drillman makes this dramatic entrance in his transport ship. And this guy, he comes in with the most extra line ever. Well, I guess dying is a day worth living for. Like, my dude, who hurt you? That's the kind of thing I used to write in my diary when my mom wouldn't let me stay up late playing video games. Then we've got these welder pencil helicopters coming out of nowhere carrying these glowing green barrels that look like they came straight out of a cartoon about toxic waste. Meanwhile, there's this G toilet with its helicopter buddies just blasting away through smoke like they're in an action movie.
This is all thanks.
But the best part, we've got 8 fighter jets zooming around, and one of them's got Sergeant Cameraman in it. Because apparently in this universe, being a camera person also means you're qualified to fly military aircraft. Makes total sense. Then we get to the good stuff. Sinister Titan Clockman's doing his best anime villain impression, telling Titan Clockman to stop holding back. And Titan Clockman responds with Taste the Holy Sword, which honestly sounds like something you'd hear in a really intense cooking show. The whole thing ends with this dramatic grandfather clock sound and a coming soon splash screen with G Toilet lurking in the background like that one weird kid in all your high school photos. And I gotta say, I have no idea what's happening half the time, but I'm absolutely here for it. Episode 43 is basically what would happen if Michael Bay directed a fight between office supplies and bathroom fixtures, and I'm not even kidding. So we start off with these G-clones flying in like they own the place, and Titan Pencilman's like, hold my pencil sharpener, and sends in her army of Titan clones. But Titan Drillman, bless his heart, decides he's too cool to wait and goes full Leroy Jenkins on one of the G-clones, blasting it in the face with plasma. which, you know, seems like a solid plan until the G-clone is like, that's cute, and knocks him back with a laser beam like he's swatting away an annoying fly. Then we get this absolutely wild sequence where the Sonor Titan clone, and yes, that's actually what it's called, just jumps on a G-clone and starts sawing its neck like it's auditioning for a horror movie. But another G-clone shows up, like that one friend who always ruins the moment and blasts the Sonor Titan with plasma. Now, here's where it gets really crazy. We've got Titan Speakerman 1.0 clone and Titan Cameraman 3.0 clone jumping in like a tag team wrestling duo, but the G-clone's just not having it. He shoots them both with lasers like he's at a really aggressive laser tag party. Then Titan Cameraman 1.0 clone comes in with this absolutely bonkers move where he grabs a G-clone and just yeets them both into the ground. Like my dude really said, if I'm going down, you're coming with me. The Titan Clockman clone is out here trying to be cool, catching missiles midair like he's in the Matrix or something, but the G-clone gets back up faster than my motivation after seeing a motivational quote on Instagram and starts blasting away at the clone until it's basically toast. But wait, it gets better. The Titan Drillman 1.0 clone tries to be a hero and grabs a G-clone with a chain, drills its eye, which by the way seems like a really specific target, but it barely does anything. The G-clones just like nice try and blast him into oblivion. It's like bringing a pencil to a laser fight. The real Titan Drillman sees this and gets mad like mom found the secret snack stash mad and starts blasting plasma beams with his 2.0 clone at 3 G-clones. But these G-clones are built different because they're just taking it like it's a light breeze. We've got Titan clones losing arms, getting ambushed, explosions everywhere. It's like watching a Michael Bay movie but with office supplies and toilets. The real Titan TV man gets sassy and starts trash-talking the G-toilet, asking if it's too scared to come out and hitting it with that no-balls comment, which honestly is a pretty bold thing to say to a giant killer toilet. And just when you think it can't get any wilder, we cut to these two pencil helicopters where we meet the most random squad ever, Plungermen, because of course that's a thing, Dark Speakerman, not to be confused with regular Speakerman, Camera Woman, Speaker Woman, and TV Woman. They're all standing there with their new upgrades, looking like they're about to drop the hottest album of 2024. The episode ends right there because apparently they really want us to suffer waiting for what happens next. Like, you can't just show us a squad of office supply superheroes and then cut to black. That's just mean. Okay, so we get the secret scene right after episode 43, and it's basically Mission Impossible, but if it was written by someone who really loves office supplies and bathroom fixtures. So TV Woman's in this pencil helicopter, which yes, is exactly what it sounds like, and she's like, what are you doing? Go back to invisible mode, because apparently pencil helicopters can go invisible now. This is what happens when you let kids design military equipment, I guess. They're sneaking up on this giant G-Man apocalypse mech like they're trying to avoid getting caught after raiding the fridge at 3 a.m. Then we switch to Plungerman's POV, and can we talk about how that's actually someone's name? Like somewhere in this universe, this guy's mom was like, yes, this is what I'll name my child. Anyway, Plungerman's out here absolutely demolishing these security mutant Skibidi toilets while Large Clockman's freezing them in time like he's got the remote control to reality. Then we get this whole squad rolling up like it's the world's weirdest superhero team. We've got Clockwoman, Drillwoman, Assassin Drillman, because regular Drillman wasn't intense enough, Bernard, just Bernard, Large TV Man, Laser Large Cameraman, and Large Summoner Pencilman. Large TV Man hits us with this epic let's fricking go, which is probably the tamest battle cry I've ever heard, but I respect the Peg 13 energy. The whole thing ends with everyone looking ready to throw down like they're about to start the world's most bizarre office supply turf war. Hey everyone, thanks for hanging out with me through whatever that was. If you enjoyed watching me try to make sense of this chaos, YouTube's about to recommend you something equally chaotic right here on the screen. Click it. The algorithm loves it when you do that, and honestly, so do I. It's like giving me a virtual high five. Catch you in the next one.